And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
The views expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
When the static of life fills your brain and the world seems a little too insane, just twist that dial, don't hesitate. There's a haven where good vibes await. Tune in and Take 12 for some joy and cheer. It's the sound of hope coming in crystal clear. Recovery talk, the music so grand, a beacon of light, a helping hand.
Well, good day, one and all. Are you ready for some controversy? I am. It's going to be a fun show. Of course, we've got the Make Believe Take 12 Recovery Radio Orchestra. We've got our politically zoned out gnome. If you're on YouTube, you can see him there. Roger McDermott is with us from Huntington Beach, California. We got a visit from comedian George Carlin coming up on this episode. We're going to talk about politics and the recovery community. I dare ya to listen to the entire show. I really do. I dare ya. I dare ya.
For some joy and cheer, it's the sound of hope coming in crystal clear. Recovery talk, the music so grand, a beacon of light, a helping hand.
Yes, indeed. Welcome aboard, one and all. Roger, hey, buddy, how are you there?
Good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful Monday morning. The fires are mostly out. It rained, and now we're worried about mudslides, but it's beautifully clear and gorgeous in Huntington Beach.
Yeah. Wow.
And
so
we have snow in the mountains. There's nothing like it.
Snow in the mountains. So how far is your home from the closest fire that happened?
Probably about 40 miles.
About 40 miles, that far away. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're safe, and our hearts go out to so many people. And I don't care. Well, they're rich. I don't care if you're rich or poverty-stricken and everything in between. When catastrophe hits, it's catastrophe. It's a horrible thing, and golly gee will it occurs anyway. I mean, Lord bless every single person.
Yes.
Because when these things happen, it just doesn't affect the homeowner or the guy that owns his tent or whatever, right? It affects everybody. It's far-reaching. Well, anyway. Okay, so the topic this week is politics in the recovery community. An interesting thing, I reached out to several different people that come from a different perspective than probably you and I do to see if they would come on the show with me. And as is very common, they didn't even respond. I'm not surprised. And we'll talk about that a little bit here in a minute. But I thought we could maybe have a little bit of fun before we get into the muddy waters of politics and the recovery community.
Here's what's his name.
Do you want to play trivia? Trivia.
That's right. It's what's his name. You know what's his name.
Yep.
The Monty Man.
That's right. So a little useless and mindless information, some trivia for you that once you know these things, you are such a better human being. So here's number one. Animals that lay eggs don't have belly buttons.
Well, I'm glad I know that now.
So let me preface the rest of this segment by saying, because I got an email the other day, said, why don't you just get to the topic? Well, why don't you just fast forward, you knucklehead? The reason we do this silly stuff in the beginning is because we want to be testifiers that just because you go to a lot of meetings and drink bad coffee doesn't mean you can't have fun the rest of your day, right? The rest
It's
of your
all about
week.
having fun. Come
We
on.
love to have fun. We love to have fun. If you can't have fun, then I don't know. We just love to it. Okay, here's the second one. An average of 3.6 cans of Spam are consumed every second.
Wow, that's mind-boggling.
3.6 cans. What's 0.6?
They had their 3 and they couldn't finish the 4th.
I guess. Oh my goodness. I happen to like Spam, by the way.
I do too, if it's cooked right.
If it's cooked right, yeah. Number 3, this is for Alicia. Alicia, if you're listening, this is for you. If every Oreo cookie ever made were lined up, it would reach the moon and back 5 times.
That's a lot of Oreos.
There's a lot of Oreos. 1, 2. Here, number 4. Apple seeds contain cyanide. I knew that one.
I knew that one.
Yeah. I don't know if you bite into an apple seed that you're going to fall over dead, but you might not want to save them up and do that. Number 5, in the 1830s, this is a trip. Ketchup was used as medicine to treat such ailments as diarrhea, indigestions, and jaundice. Now, it doesn't say
what?
whether... Yeah, ketchup. I don't know how... How do you administer... Oh, the picture in my head right now. How do you administer ketchup as a medication for diarrhea, indigestion? Is you just eat a lot of it, or do you rub it on areas of your body?
You'd have to consume it. You'd have to eat it, Monty.
Okay, okay. Dolphins give each other names. I knew that one too. They actually assign codes to each other. Yeah. Snails sleep for periods of 13 to 15 hours at a time. Some hibernate like periods of years. So if that snail that you've been watching, little Johnny, hasn't moved, don't bug him. He's probably taking a nap. You know what I mean? Just leave the little guy alone. And on a more serious note, today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Yeah,
wow.
That's today. Yeah, remembering the Holocaust. For those of you who actually believe it happened, we're not.
I was just going to say it didn't happen, Monty.
Yeah, right. We didn't go to the moon. The Holocaust didn't happen. Although
Right.
the moon thing, I'm beginning to wonder. Who knows anymore? It's also National Spouse Day, by the way.
National Spaz Day?
Spouse Day. Yeah.
Oh, Spouse Day. I thought you said Spaz Day.
Spouse Day.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm the spouse, probably, yeah. So, Marsha, what are you going to buy me for National Spouse Day?
She was going to ask you that, Monty.
I know, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, there you go. Animals that lay eggs don't have belly buttons. So Marv used to ask, our co-host Marv from years ago, he used to ask, do snakes have laps?
Laps?
Yeah.
No, they do not.
You know, when they get on their laptop, do they put it on their lap?
You have to have legs to have a lap.
Do you?
Yes, you do.
Do chickens have lips?
No, they have beaks.
No, come on. Don't they have lips? How do they kiss each other?
They peck each other, Monty.
No, that's disgruntled couples do that.
Remember Leghorn Foghorn? I love that guy.
Oh, my goodness sakes. All right. Yeah, so we will. We got a bunch of stuff I gotta share with the listeners here. Please pay close attention to this, and then we'll come back and we'll hear from comedian George Carlin as we.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, as we enter into this topic of politics in the recovery community, I got some email too that some people that are not happy with me that I'm excited to share with you. So don't go away. We'll be back. Right after this. Born on America's darkest day of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been helping American heroes ever since. When a first responder or military service member doesn't come home and young children are left behind, Tunnel to Towers pays the mortgage on the family home to lift the financial burden. For catastrophically injured veterans and first responders, the foundation builds mortgage-free smart homes, empowering severely injured heroes to navigate their homes with greater independence. Through their veteran program, Tunnel to Towers provides homeless veterans housing and services. To date, the foundation has helped more than 10,000 homeless veterans. People who put their lives on the line for our country and our communities need your help now more than ever. Head to T2T.org and consider a monthly donation of only $11. Your contributions play a vital role in supporting American veterans, first responders, and their families. That's T2T.org. For only $11 a month, you can make a huge difference in the lives of those who made a difference for us.
This is Tom Williams
and Alicia Martinez, and we'd like to invite you to join us right here at Take12Radio.com for the Came to Believe Recovery podcast.
Topics will include a deep look into the how and why the 12-step movement was so successful in the past and how it can experience that success again today.
You can catch up on all our episodes at Take12Radio.com by clicking on the Came to Believe Recovery podcast banner.
And I came to believe in a power much higher than I.
Hey there, it's the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio. We are so excited to add a brand new podcast to our Recovery Podcast Network of solution-focused podcasters. 3 Legacies Recovery Recordings, where they explore the journey of sobriety through inspiring conversations and stories. Join my friend Paul H. and his guests as they discuss the challenges and victories of sober living from all walks of recovery, sharing their experience, their strength, and their hope. Paul and his guests delve into the principles and practices of the 12 steps, offering insights, encouragement, and practical tips for anyone seeking recovery from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Hey, they want to navigate the path to freedom with you. So visit Take12Radio.com and click on the big purple Recovery Podcast Network banner for 3 Legacies Recovery Recordings. Oh yeah, and while you're there, don't forget to subscribe.
You got the one snowman, I'm eastbound and down.
Eastbound and down, load it up and truck it. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done? We've got a long way to go.
Man, you can't get any more American than Smokey and the Bandit. Hey, welcome back to the show. Hey, listen, if you went to an average of 1 meeting a day for 10 years, you would have attended 3,750 meetings, drank 7,840 cups of coffee, and offended an average of 41,200 people. So we're about to offend some people today. The topic, politics and the recovery community. What do we mean by that? Well, I thought, just for fun, let's visit George Carlin on the topic of politicians. Here's Mr. Carlin.
Now, there's one thing you might have noticed I don't complain about. Politicians. Everybody complains about politicians. Everybody says they suck.
Yeah!
Well, where do people think these politicians come from? They don't fall out of the sky. They don't pass through a membrane from another reality. They come from American parents and American families, American homes, American schools, American churches, American businesses, and American universities, and they're elected by American citizens. This is the best we can do, folks. This is what we have to offer. It's what our system produces. Garbage in, garbage out. If you have selfish, ignorant citizens, you're going to get selfish, ignorant leaders. And term limits ain't going to do you any good. You're just going to wind up with a brand new bunch of selfish, ignorant Americans. So maybe it's not the politicians who suck. Maybe something else sucks around here, like the public. Yeah, the public sucks. There's a nice campaign slogan for somebody.
Love that
He
guy.
was a modern day Lenny Bruce. You know what I mean? He just said what he wanted to say. Lenny was a little more rough around the edges than even George Carlin, but they were both groundbreakers when it came to comedy. I probably wouldn't agree on a lot of things that Mr. Carlin shares, but you can't deny that the guy is a genius, an absolute genius. Which brings me to a point. Okay, so I love George Carlin. I just think he's amazing comedian. As of late, I love Timothy Chalamet, the young actor who has played in quite a few movies. Everything by Call Me by Name or Call Me by My Name, I believe, which is very controversial. Beautiful Boy, Dune, the Dune franchise, and now most recently A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan story, and just an amazing actor. Tom Cruise, another incredible actor. What's his name? The guy that he was in Meet the Parents. I can't think of his name there. He's very, very opinionated. He's very much on the left leaning politically. I can't remember his name now, but an incredible actor. There's so many people, musicians. I mean, you can say what you want to about Taylor Swift, but she's got an incredible voice. She really does.
Amazing entertainer. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and I get it. I get it why people would go to her concerts. I'm not a Swiftie, but I get it, So can we, and my son and I were having this discussion the other day, depending on what side of the political fence you're on, or if you are straddle the fence, can you separate a person's dogma from their talents and enjoy them? Can you be friends with somebody that is completely on the opposite side in every way of your belief systems and your opinions about everything, anything, and still love them and be friends with them and go to coffee with them and take them to a meeting with you or give them a ride or take their offer for a ride? Can you go to a conference with them? Can you, blah, 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 blah. You might not go golfing with them, but can you sit next to them and pour their coffee at a meeting or whatever? Can you do that? Because if you can't, there's probably some work that we need to do. Wouldn't you agree, Roger?
I completely agree. In fact, there are so many people in the entertainment business that I thoroughly enjoy their work, their singing, or whatever their particular gifts are. But politically, I'm completely not in accord with them. But I would love to have lunch with them, or go to coffee, and just talk about whatever it is. And the thing that has changed me through the good Lord and the 12 steps and the fellowship is that love conquers all. Love
Yeah.
conquers all. And my job is to love them just because I don't agree with their position
Sure.
on something. And I think that can cut through any discussion.
Any.
And so I would love. It's like there's so many like Tom Cruise. I love all the things that he does. He's an amazing actor. He gets involved in directing. He does some of his own stunts. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Politically and spiritually, I'm completely not in tune with him, but I would love to sit down and have lunch with him and talk to him.
Yeah,
or
wouldn't that be cool?
someone like Barbra Streisand, who is one of the most amazing, gifted performers ever.
Yeah.
Just to sit down and talk and just have a reasonable conversing. I think it'd be really interesting.
Robert De Niro, who is the guy?
Robert De Niro.
Who's the gentleman? He played on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. He was the boss. He's played Santa Claus.
He was the writer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so if you haven't gotten a hint of our political leanings by now, listening to Take 12 Recovery Radio, you probably haven't been paying attention. Although we don't boast about it much, we don't. You can tell if you pay attention, kind of where Roger and I might camp out at, and so. Discussing some of these actors that are probably a little more to the left than we are, can we enjoy them for who they are and their abilities? Yeah, I think we can, and I think you can too. And to say, well, I'm never watching a movie by that guy again. Okay, if you want to play that game, that's okay. That's fine.
I'm not that guy. I'm not.
I'm not that guy either. I was that guy at one time.
I'm not.
So, but a couple things. First of all, just if this is the first time you've ever listened to Take 12 Recovery Radio, just understand that I am overly opinionated, particularly when I'm right, and I'm often right. And to do that with what you may. I'm wearing a hat. I switched my hat here, and let me just talk about this for a minute. It's kind of hard to see because the lettering is. I ordered this on Amazon, and it's a cheapo hat. It was like $8 or something. But what it says, I'll get close to the camera if you're watching. It says, "Make recovery about God again." It says, "Make recovery about God again." Now it's a red hat. It's kind of faded, but it's a red hat. And it's in the same font as the MAGA hats, but it says "Make recovery about God again." Now the MAGA hats, and now I'm going to lose half the people here, but that's okay. Hold on. I really wondered if I should do this, but I'm going to do it. There you go. Yes, I own a MAGA hat.
I have a question. What's wrong with "Make America Great Again"? By the way.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
What's wrong with that? Make
If
America
Buddha
Great
said
Again.
that, half the world would be going, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a mega hat. If for no other reason than as a collector's item, for crying out loud. I have a lot of red hats. I happen to like red. Looks good on me. It just does. Another area where I'm right. But I bring this point up about make recovery about God again, the hat that I got. I wanted a sample because it was so inexpensive. I thought I'd like to order a bunch of these, but it came out. It's a lousy hat. It really is. And I am going to order a few better quality ones like the Take 12 Recovery Radio hats. But it was kind of tongue in cheek, right? It was kind of tongue in cheek. Make recovery about God again. Make America Great Again. And I thought I'll put it on a red hat. I use the same font that the Trumpers use for their hats, and it'll be kind of tongue in cheek. But it gets the point across. We do need to return to God when it comes to the recovery movement. We need to make recovery about God again. Come on, right? And I posted a picture of the hat on social media. Oh, man. This is some of the comments I got. Politics has no business within the recovery community. Okay,
Can
what's that?
somebody help me understand where that statement is political? Has nothing to do with politics.
And then somebody else says, well, it is red.
So? It's one of the 3 colors in the American flag. Is that a problem?
So is the woodpecker out my window. What, you want me to shoot him? Well, I just think you're being political. Really? Okay. All right. Okay, I'll be political. What's wrong with being political? Here's another one for you. Well, I'll just read this. Dear Monty Man, there are a couple things that have no business in the rooms of AA. Guns, religion, and politics.
Wow.
I just had me laughing so hard. Then he goes, how do you like me now, you bigot?
How do you like me now, you bigot?
What? This person has no concept of what the word bigot means.
Wow.
They obviously have no concept of what is in an AA meeting and what isn't, or an NA meeting or a Celebrate Recovery meeting. So let me just address it, just for the heck of it, okay? Guns. This is the United States of America, and if you have a concealed gun carry permit, you have every right to have a gun on your person,
yes,
no matter where you are.
100%.
Are you allowed to walk into an AA meeting and flash it around and brag about it and go, look what I got, and be... No, that's unethical. And I would have a chat with you right away if you were doing that. The whole idea of having concealed carry anyway is so it's concealed. So nobody should know you have it anyway. So there you go.
That's the point.
That's the point. But is it your right as an American citizen to have if you have a concealed carry permit, to have one and be in any room, anywhere you want to be? Unless there's a law that says you have, if you go into the certain, like if you walk into the post office, you can't go in there with a open carry. You know what I mean? There's going to be certain laws and stuff, but can you go into a 12-step meeting? Yeah, you can. Religion. This one cracks me up. You won't get more religious than an AA meeting. Just saying. If you want to know what I mean, look up the definition of religion. Politics. Really? You won't get more political than an AA business meeting. I'll tell you that right now. You want to try to pull politics out of AA? Good luck. It might not belong there in your opinion, but it's there, baby. How do you like me now? Here's another one. Preachers like yourself, didn't know I was a preacher. Preachers like yourself should stick to preaching the Bible, not politics.
What?
Well, first of all, if you pull politics out of the Bible, you won't have any. There won't be any Bible. It's very political. Again, look up the definition. Dear Monty Man, the 12 steps helped to shape my political and religious views. I will be forever grateful to the freedom I was given to believe how I wished in and out of the rooms. People need to calm down and relax.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah, good email. So let's talk about politics and the recovery community. Is there any room for politics within the recovery community? Listen, pay attention to that sentence now, because many of you don't. You get your feathers all ruffled and emotionally driven, and you don't pay attention to what's being said. I didn't say, do politics belong in the meeting? I didn't say that. I said politics and the recovery community. Are you a member of the recovery community? If you are a member in and out of the rooms. Can you have political views, and can you be open and honest about your political views with people that disagree with you? Not necessarily in a meeting setting, but within your friendships and some. Well, sure, I hope so. Don't you, Roger?
Monty, let me read you the definition of politics.
Okay, here we go.
It comes from an ancient Greek word. It is the set of activities that are associated with making decisions in groups or other forms of power relations among individuals, such as the distribution of status or resources. What in the world would you have if you don't have a group of people trying to make decisions? I mean,
There you go.
look up the definition of politics.
People don't do their due diligence, Roger.
Man.
We whine and complain and rattle the cages and beat the drum, and we don't know what we're talking about.
Yep.
Well, you're getting awful political. Somebody said, Monty, you better be careful on your show. Why? My show.
How about the definition of religion? The belief in the belief in and worship of superhuman power or powers, especially God, a god or gods. Ideas about the relationship between science and religion. A particular system of faith and worship. A pursuit or interest to which someone ascribes a supreme importance.
So, hey, you 12-steppers, especially in AA, that say there's no place for religion within Alcoholics Anonymous, you better read your big book, buddy. You know, part it says, learn, be quick to see where religious people are right, make use of what they have to offer. Guess what? If you are active AA member, and you've had a spiritual awakening as a result of those steps, you can't get more religious based on that definition.
Yeah. I mean,
it is extremely religious.
Yes. Well, and God has been mentioned like 132 times in 164 pages. So there you have it. How are you going to have the program without God? Yeah.
Yeah. Politics in the recovery community. So I think just about 98% of the people that I associate with are members of the recovery community in some way, shape, or form. The rest of them are all supportive of people in the recovery community in some way, shape, or form. Do we all agree politically? No, not at all. Do we have a problem with each other? They probably have a problem with me. I have a problem with the way people behave sometimes, in the sense of it's not going to knock me off my emotional center of gravity. Thank you, Dr. Alan Berger, for teaching me how to keep my balance. That's a plug for his book, 12 Essential Insights for Emotional Sobriety. You got to get it, folks. You got to get it. It's great. abphd.com is the website. If people are pushing your buttons, you got to ask yourself, what are you doing walking around with your buttons sticking out so far? That's what you got to ask yourself.
That means that they don't lay eggs, right?
You're right. Right. So let me say something here. You know that old adage, if you don't like the television show you're watching, turn the channel, right? You're free to do that. If you don't like what somebody's saying on social media, you can unfollow them and still stay their friend. You won't see their post, but you'll still be in communication with them. You'll still stay their friend. It gives you that choice to do that. I've had to do that because if their post is upsetting me to that degree, I may need to take a break from them and then work on me.
Well,
and then work on me.
Isn't the question, why is something or somebody upsetting me at the point that it is? What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
If love and tolerance is one of our codes,
right?
Why are we so upset about someone who has a different opinion or perspective or position than me?
Now, I will tell you this, that if you are vicious, if you are cruel, and so dogmatic about your point of view,
yes,
that you borderline on being evil, yeah, you're deleted. I don't have time for that. There is a lady that I'm just blown away. Scripture tells us that even the elect will be deceived if possible. that can be applied in all sorts of areas. And this happens to be in the 12-step arena, and her relationship with God. I really thought, from everything that she has spoken to me and the time that we worked together, and we produced a whole series of shows together years ago, I had no idea how screwed up she is. It's not a matter of just differences of opinions on who you want for president. I mean, it was the stuff she was posting as of late was just, I can't think of, abusive, just abusive, and you know, Nazis, and you're you know, if you believe in the red, white, and blue, you're a fascist, and I mean, just all this stuff. And then there was another lady, kind of the same thing. We did a whole bunch of shows together, and she's kind of gone down that road. And I'm like, you know, can we have a discussion? Absolutely. But as far as stuff popping up on my social media, you know, no, delete. You know, I'm not saying I don't love you anymore. I'm not saying that you can't be my friend or anything. But when it comes to what's in my face when I pull up my screen, if you don't like the channel or the TV show, turn the channel. So I've just turned the channel. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I will tell you right now, if you are the kind of person, if you are friends with me or Take 12 Recovery Radio group, and you're posting stuff about Nazis and burning down churches, and I mean, if you're doing that kind of stuff, get off. I don't want you anywhere near this group. Get out of there. And if you're on the ultra conservative side of the fence and you're doing the same thing, get out of there. That's not what we're about. I don't think there's anything wrong with me if I want to wear a MAGA hat, or if I want to wear a Make Recovery About God Again hat. You know, I'm gonna use a little wisdom where I might wear these. I'm probably not going to wear a MAGA hat in a 12-step meeting that I've never been in before. I think that's just wisdom, right? I mean, would you, Roger? I mean, wouldn't you? Isn't there a time and a place?
I believe there is. I'm ultra sensitive about those kinds of things, because what I don't want to do, especially in the rooms of recovery that you don't know the people, is you want to be able to have some sort of conversation or relationship with them. And if that's going to affect them to the point where they can't even come up and shake my hand or talk to me, then I don't see the point of doing that.
Right. Are you just flaunting?
Yeah, I don't.
You know, your opinion because you want to get a rise out of somebody?
Right.
If that's what you're doing, leave the hat at home.
Yeah, I don't do those things anymore. I used to do those things, but I don't anymore.
So, do politics and the recovery community, there's certain things that I do believe that are unethical and inappropriate in a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous or Celebrate Recovery, that aren't unethical or inappropriate on this radio and podcast. This is a place to be opinionated, have fun with it, and talk about me being right all the time. I say that tongue in cheek. I really do. I say that tongue in cheek. If you don't get me by now, you know that I know that I'm wrong a lot of the times, and I'm growing just like you're growing, listeners. I'm telling you. But this is where we can do that.
Yeah, and have fun with it.
And have fun with it. In a 12-step room, I like what Chris says. Unless you know me really, really well, if I'm sitting in a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous over in Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, or down in LA, or I'm visiting or whatever, unless you know me really, really well, you're not going to know what church I'm affiliated with. You're not going to know what political stance I have. You're not going to, that stuff is not important in the rooms. It's
Correct.
just not.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's appropriate to take it in the rooms for the purpose of trying to influence people to your side of the fence. I don't care if you're left or right. I don't think politics belongs within the recovery community of the meeting. What do you think, Raj?
Well, when you read the definition of it, it seems like it's appropriate, but
It does, by definition.
Yeah, in context of what we mean when you talk about politics today, I don't think it has a place in the recovery room about sharing about our experience, strength, and hope, or how the 12 steps have changed our lives, or how the 12 traditions keep unity in the meetings. I don't think it has a place in there. But when you read the definition, it's absolutely appropriate.
It is, by definition, right?
Which is funny. It's just funny because politics has become a P word. It's become something that has such negative connotations. And I think it's because many of our elected political officials have turned it into something else that it's not supposed to be. So, I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, there's going to be people, there's people mad at me right now.
Well, the
It's
question
like,
is, why are they mad? And if they are, why don't they come and talk about it? Let's talk about it.
And that's just it. And so, okay, get in line.
Well, it's kind of your job, Monty.
Yeah.
For 20 years, it's been your job to stir the pot and be
stir the pot.
over-opinionated.
Absolutely.
Isn't that what we do? Isn't that the idea of having this show?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to kiss your backside just to make you feel better. And I don't want you doing that with me.
Right.
Roger, I live so much of my life emotionally dependent on other people's view of me. I'm so done with that.
Me too.
I am so done with that.
Yep.
Does it hurt sometimes? A little bit, sure. But you know what? I'm not staying there. Okay, that was an ouch. Okay, bye-bye. or yeah, I'll have lunch with you. But we can make decisions today without hatred in our hearts, without wanting to hurt other people. Hey, we hurt each other unintentionally enough to ever add doing it deliberately, right? And some people are probably thinking, well, you're doing it deliberately now. Well, turn the channel in. It's okay. At the very beginning of the show, I played a sound clip, probably one of the most famous sound clips that you'll ever hear, and it was during John F. Kennedy's inaugural address, January 20th, 1961. And it's become, it's engraved on marble all over the place. It's just everywhere. It was a bumper sticker for years, back when we had bumper stickers. You know, that's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Has it been overplayed? No. Because I don't think people are asking the question anymore. How could you be part of the solution? Come on. So I'm gonna pick on some fellow broadcasters here. The women of The View.
Oh my.
Here's my thought about them. Rather than throwing them under the bus, and by the way, they would fit quite nicely under that bus. My question is this. You ladies have an incredibly long reach. You have the ability to influence millions of people. What are you doing for the positive to help? I mean, really, what can you do with the television show The View and be part of the solution? My same question would go out to Greg Gutfeld. I love Gutfeld, the show. But sometimes I have to ask myself, okay, I get it. This is a comedic show, but it's also very political. Is what you just said, is that helpful or hurtful? What are you doing and what's your team doing to be part of the solution? What would happen if the ladies of The View, and I'm picking on both these guys because they both go after each other. What if the ladies of The View and the team of Gutfeld sat down together, had a meal, and didn't talk about politics or personal points of view when it came to God, just had a meal together? I wonder what would happen, Roger. What do you think might happen?
Well, I think if that actually transpired and they had some reasonable expectations that they could exercise, I think it would be interesting. But I'm not sure that...
Kind of idealistic, isn't it?
I'm not sure they could get together and be reasonable.
I don't think they could.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Because, yeah, it is sad. It is sad.
That's sad. That's sad. And so I got to check myself too. You know, I'm thinking there's I remember this was during Obama's administration. I was at a meeting, and it was the smoke break, and I'm standing there talking to somebody that I had been close friends with for a long time, and he was on the opposite side of the fence politically than I was. And he was just going on and on about stuff. And I just looked at him, and what came out of my mouth, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I thought, this is not his problem. This is my problem. I really screwed up here. And I looked at him, and I said his name, and I said, F you. That's not part of my vocabulary. And people looked at me that were like, what did Monty just say? They were just stunned. And I thought, oh, man, how am I going to back out of this, right? And so I owed a huge amends to everybody that was there. And talk about embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed. Now, that gentleman and I we're friends today. We're friendly friends. Let's put it that way. We're polite to each other. We don't see each other often, but I ran into him at a local hardware store recently, and I hadn't seen him in years. And it was like old home week. It was like nothing had ever happened like that. It was like, man, how you doing? And the guy's surviving cancer. He said, Monty, you look great. I mean, we had a good hug. Why can't that be more like that? And he and I still don't agree politically. Why can't... I don't understand why people have to be so... how they can't exist in the recovery community together. I guess it's just that's our journey, I suppose. If it wouldn't be politics, it'd be something else, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the human nature, right? It's just human.
Yeah. Huh. So George Carlin's right. We get what we get, and we don't throw a fit. It's us. It's not them. And when we whittle it away and get down to the nitty-gritty of it all, it's me, not you.
100%. Took me a long time to learn that.
Yeah.
And I share with new people in the recovery community, it's like when you're feeling really frustrated, upset, angry about some person, place, or thing, it's because it's striking something in you. Just like looking in the mirror and you somehow spiritually or emotionally or psychologically, it puts you in touch with who you used to be that used to make yourself crazy. And so it's not about them or the place or the thing. It's about me.
Yeah.
Take me a long time to realize that.
So the truth of the matter is politics is in the recovery community because we're people.
Yes.
And people have different opinions. People that are on the radical right don't agree with each other about a lot of things. People who are on the radical left don't agree with each other about a lot of things. People who are on the moderate left or the moderate right or the gentler left or the gentler right. If they sat down together, they'd find that they didn't agree on everything. You know, it's part of what makes us human. It's part of what makes us wonderful. It's part of what makes this country amazing.
Yes.
Is that we can differ and we can still be okay. You could be you, I could be me, and it's okay. And I may be wrong as wrong can be, and you may be right as right can be, and we can still be friends. And you may be wrong as wrong can be, and I can be right, and we can still be friends. If we can't, I'm afraid, well, it's just really unfortunate. So, in this season of stuff that's all going on, if you find yourself flipping off the TV or posting pictures of yourself flipping the rest of us off, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, right, left, middle, rethink that. How is that helpful? And so ask the question that John F. Kennedy asks. You know, what can I do for you?
It's just like when people come in and say, I don't like that meeting, I'm never going back. And I'm saying, well, what did you bring to the meeting? It's like, if you don't like what's being shared, why don't you share something positive about recovery? Why don't you share something positive about your journey of being positive and how your negative attitude has changed as a result of recovery? Why don't you bring something good to it instead of just going there and being a taker and not liking what you're hearing? Right? God said, let's come together and reason together.
So I've got a question for you, and then we're gonna play our closing song. And if these few folks that I contacted and invited to come on the show that have different viewpoints about this, who chose either not to respond or to decline my invitation, why do you think that is? Roger, yeah. Why? I mean, without knowing them, why do you think that people from differing views, when it comes to a show like this, why do you think they say, "Nah, I'm not interested"?
For whatever reason, I think they can't come together and reason together. Even if you have, I mean, what makes the world go around is coming together with different points of view and discussing it.
Yeah.
What's the problem? You can say what you mean and mean what you say. You don't have to say it mean. So it's right. So why not come together? And I mean, it's what makes makes the world go around. It's just it's an attitude of being reasonable. I think it's like everybody can have. They're welcome to their opinions. That's why my opinions sort of are irrelevant. I want to live on principles, not my opinions. It's not about what I think. It's what I say and do. And if what I say and do are based in principle, and I live hopefully by the power of God, then I can stand my position because I'm standing on truth, and I want to be reasonable.
Yeah.
And it's like Dr. Bob said, one of his favorite scriptures was 1 Corinthians 13, which is what? It says, if you have the whole world, you've gained the whole world, but you have not love, you have nothing. So it's about love. It's about love. Yeah. I can love you if I don't agree with you.
Sure.
Right? Why can't we all come together and love each other even though we don't agree? I think that's somebody that the question needs to be asked. Why can't we come together and agree to disagree and be okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think human nature is that I want to be right. And I'm right and you're wrong, and so therefore I can't play.
And if you don't agree with me,
right,
then you don't love me.
Right. Right.
Wow. I don't agree with my wife on every little thing.
Yeah.
We love each other. We are incredibly close.
Well, it's not about agreeing.
No. You know.
It's about respecting.
Yes. Yes. And so I'll before we go to the song, I'll share this. So this may be a real minor, yeah, my nose is plugged. A minor example, but I think you'll get the point. So we don't do this much anymore because we have a rhythm about turning the lights on and off in a room. But there was a time that if I left the light on in a room, if I was going back in that room within the next few minutes, I didn't turn the light off. Why would you? I'm going back in. That was my point of view. Her point of view was when you leave the room, turn the light off, regardless if you're coming back or not. Okay? So we had this kind of, poking the bear kind of thing with each other. And she turned the light off. I go, why'd you turn the light off? Well, because it's on. Yeah, but I wouldn't have it on unless I wanted it on. So please turn it back on. It's like, did you roll your window up? I just rolled it down. If I wanted it up, I wouldn't have rolled it down. These are the discussions men and wives have all the time. And even best friends and cohorts. So we laugh about that now, So what I realized was it silly in my mind? Was it silly to turn the light off if I'm going back in 3 minutes? Yes. Was it silly to her? No. It was important to her. And even I could hold on to my opinion of it being silly, but because it's important to her, I turned the light off to honor her. Is it still silly? Sure. So what?
Yeah, so what?
Do it anyway. Turn the light off.
It's not about being right. It's about doing right.
And it's really not the issue of the light. Do I love my wife enough to turn the light switch off because it's important to her?
Right. That's the question.
Yeah. If I don't, I got a lot of work to do in our marriage. A lot.
Well, it goes beyond just marriage. I mean, that's the ultimate place. But
it is
in having a relationship with anybody. Can it be the same thing? Can you honor their position while not agreeing?
Can I respect the rubes of the 12-steppers enough?
Yes.
To leave my MAGA hat or my anti-Trump T-shirt?
Yes.
In the car?
Right.
When I go into the meeting?
I agree. Totally. Yes.
Because
it's about the group. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll even go so far as to say, if I'm going to a meeting where they're very offended if you're a Christian, am I going to wear my Jesus is the only way T-shirt in there? What's the point? Am I poking you in the face with that?
Right.
Or do I leave that home and just wear a regular old T-shirt and love you and be Jesus with skin on regardless of how you feel about my belief systems? We just got to step back, the left, the right, the middle, and take a long, hard look at what our motives are with each other. And if we do that, I think we'll be better people for it. All right. Closing thoughts, Roger?
Well, I think we just said it. It's not about my viewpoints, all of that. It's about having a relationship and respecting others. It's about, but the core of my principles are honoring God and abiding in God. And if you follow what he said, it's about loving one another. And it let's come together and reason together. It's hard to argue when you're being reasonable. Yeah. It's going to be a one-way conversation. If I choose to love you while you're arguing with whatever you're arguing about, if I don't choose to argue, there's no argument.
Yep.
So it doesn't mean I agree with you. It just means that this is a fight I'm not going to fight today.
Yeah.
Amen. If you want to go have lunch, we'll have lunch. I'll even buy. Let's go out and have a good lunch and a good time. Maybe let's go to a movie together. Whatever. We don't have to argue about political positions, right or left, or it doesn't. At the end of the moment, it doesn't matter. It's like, how do I respect you? And so it's that attraction rather than promotion concept that we talk about in recovery. There was a guy, Rich Bueller, who used to be on the radio down here for years and years and years, and he said, "Are you when talking about people reacting to you, are you a fragrance or do you stinketh?" and I never forgot that. It's like, are people happy to see you? Do you have an aroma of love about you? Are you attractive because you care about others? Or is it all about me?
Yeah.
I never forgot that.
Wow.
And that's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
So why are we arguing?
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Amen. Really good word. Okay. So Danny Gokey, one of my favorite Christian recording artists, or what do you call it? It used to be called Jesus Music. Now it's called Christian Contemporary, CCM, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. But Danny Gokey, he's just a great musician. And this is his song called My America. I put a sound clip in at the end from John F. Kennedy. It was also part of his inaugural address. It's just a short little sound clip. Listen really close to what he says. And that's what I'll leave you with as we close out this episode of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. Here is Danny Gokey with My America.
Say our country's far too gone. Even claim our fathers got it wrong. But I won't give up on us, and I'll take a stand, 'cause we can overcome. This is not the end. I still believe in us, oh America. You're still the land I love, though a little bruised up. Stars and stripes still cry liberty over evil, over tyranny. Blood poured out for our freedom, they sacrificed it all for this nation. I still believe in us, my America. Our history is full of bravery. Heroes fought for our equality. Now is the time to make peace and forgive our faults, because united we stand, or divided we will fall. I still believe in us, my America. You're still the land I love, though a little bruised up. Stars and stripes still cry liberty over evil, over tyranny. Blood poured out for our freedom, sacrificed it all for this nation. I still believe in us. America, America, God sent His grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. I'll always believe in us, my America. This is the land I love, but we gotta heal up. Lady Liberty will always be a sign of hope unto the refugee. The immigrant can find escape from oppression to a better place. I still believe
us go forth to lead the land we love, asking His blessing and His help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own.
Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man, along with Roger McDermott and the rest of the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, and we are wishing God's perfect serenity for you.
Don't let the weights of the past keep you down. There's a melody here to turn it around. In each story and song you'll find a friend, a chorus of courage that'll never end.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty, 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 kitty.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.